Hello and welcome. This is Connor Smith, your host, and today I'm going to be going over how to composite in Final Cut 4. A different version of Final Cut that you may be using might be a little bit different, but pretty much all the versions are essentially the same. They just have minor differences, so I'm just going to go over how to do it in Final Cut 4. I'm going to be using an example of me shooting a gun and throwing on a couple of effects on there, but essentially when you're done, this is what you want it to look like. Okay, now the next, the first step that you want to do is you want to obviously have your footage in there. So I already have my footage, which is right down here, which is my base footage. Then you want to have your footage, which you're going to overlay on top. So I have mine stored right here. And this is my image of my bullet shell, which I'm going to move into Final Cut. And so I know that I'm only going to want it to appear, my shell to appear very briefly, so I'm only going to need to take one frame of it. You guys might need to take more or less depending, well actually you can't take less than a frame, but you might need to take more depending on what you're going to overlay, if it's going to be a complete moving image, which I'll also show how to do that later in my video. Okay, so you're then going to go and find where your first, where you're going to start overlaying your footage. Mine is right here. You can see down here where I have my audio for my gunshot. So it begins right there, I think. Yes, right there. So I'm going to go ahead and paste my image of my shell right over top of it. Okay? So now when I'm on it, it'll just be a black image, but I still have my image. It'll be the image of what you just overlaid, but you won't be able to see your other clip. So what you're going to have to do in order to see them overlaid over each other is first go to Arrange Compositing, or sometimes it's called different things like 2-up in a newer version of Final Cut. You go there, so now you have two images, which is a lot easier to help you with compositing, and you're going to go to Modify, Composite Mode. Sometimes it might be called something else. I'm going to use Add just because I like the way it looks in this frame. And then again, I forgot to select it, so I'm going to have to go and just do that again. Okay, so now I have my image underneath, and one thing you have to make sure you have turned on is wireframes. So I already have it turned on, but if you don't have it turned on, it doesn't help you, and you just have to make sure that it's turned on. And the wireframe is this box in blue with white lines going across it. So then you're going to shrink and rotate and do whatever you want to your image, because obviously I have a really big image of a gun shell, but I want to make it fit in, look like it fit into my rifle. And then maybe I want to rotate it a little bit so that when it, ejects, it looks natural. And I'm going to put 2 images of this because, or maybe even 3. I'm going to rotate it some more, put another one up, copy that, make another one of them, and my third one I'll have flying off the screen. And you can adjust these little white lines to show how much of it you're going to have in the frame, so you can see here I'm kind of cutting it off out of the frame. Next, so now you can select all 3 of these clips and do Control-R, which renders your footage, which may take a while. It's also Apple R sometimes. You can also do it by just searching render, and render selection, render both, or if you're rendering your audio too. Either way works. Okay, so now once it's rendered, we can take a look at what we have, and this is what it will look like. Okay, so as you can see, my shell's flying out of the frame. Now, our next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to add smoke. So again, you import the footage that you want to use. I have a couple here. I think I'm going to use Smoky Flash Side 1. That looks good. Okay, again, you're going to select the part of the clip that you want to use. Because now, since I don't want that, actually, I do want I want both the flash and the smoke. So I'm going to cut it, get rid of the part that I don't want, and the smoke disappears right around there. So I'm going to cut it off right there. Okay, now we're going to take this clip, cut it, move it all the way over toward where we're firing our gun, or whatever image you're going to have. And I'm going to paste it right there. And again, it's just going to look like it's just black right over everything. So this time I'm going to use a different composite mode. I'm going to use screen just because it looks better for the kind of thing that we're doing. Again, I'm going to have to, it's coming out the wrong way, so I'm going to have to scale it down, flip it around, adjust it, do whatever it takes to make it look good. Adjust it a little bit and make sure that that's where I'm actually firing the gun. So yeah, I might want to break that, delete it, and slide it over one. And adjust it again, and that looks good. Okay, and now finally the last thing that we're going to do, that you can see that I've done right here, is we're going to add additive dissolve, which is, it helps the smoke fade away so it doesn't just disappear. So, effects, video transitions, dissolve, additive dissolve, and then you're just going to click that and drag it over. There we go. Okay, so now it's where we want it, and now it's going to fade away at the right time. So again, we're going to have to render all this in order to be able to view it, which is going to take a couple seconds. And again, you just click and drag additive dissolve from down here. You can get to it either by going to effects, video transitions, or you can just get down here into effects. Yeah. And so now it is going to look like this. And that's essentially what, that's how you do compositing, and a couple of other things that you can do if you so desire, or that you can select your clip. You're going to have to double click it, it'll appear over here. You can go to motion, and then you can change all these things. One of the things you can change is opacity, and you can see right here that my bullet shell is going to grow. It's going to change its opacity. That's one thing that you can do depending on what you want to do. And there's just a bunch of other things that you can do that are optional in order to create the effect that you want. That's all. Peace out, and happy editing. Alright, bye.